G'day, thanks for watching. We're down Yorke Peninsula way, wind's blowing from the east, so should be a few opportunities to get up at different locations. There we go, nicely done, nicely done. Chris Steele's is just filling out the wind at Black Point. It's cross here, so you're not going to get good lift. You need to be further down there. Well, he's holding. He landed. The morning's only produced a few opportunities to fly for very short periods of time. Here's Mark, he got a little bit of a squared in. That feels pretty good, eh? Woohoo! We've spent the better part of the morning just standing around on this hill waiting for it to come on. I've got a little bit of wind here, but it doesn't last for very long. So we decided to head further south to Devil's Gully, see if we got any stronger wind down there. It's about 2 PM now, and getting a little bit of wind. I'm acting as a windsock, just seeing what it's doing. Doesn't look like it's quite enough to keep me up though. Devil's Gully has a sheer cliff, so there's a lot of rotor on launch. It's really hard to kite the wing up and get off easily. So when Steve just launches so nice and cleanly here, this is actually a very, very difficult thing to do.
It's really strong now.
So the wind's gone from almost nothing to now being almost too strong. Woohoo! Woohoo! Here comes Chris. Let's watch his launch. Put your chin on the ground. Woohoo! Woohoo! Alright, flying Devil's Gully. Takeoff kind of sucked, but apart from that it's all good. So I repacked my reserve the other day. When I landed the wing in the sea, made the best of it. I had to wash out the reserve, and then I needed a repack. It's an SQR, and I don't know how to repack those, a square reserve, so I was really lucky. I had a experienced skydiver and the local paragliding safety officer help me pack the reserve. So after going through the process, I reckon I'll be able to do it by myself. So the first thing I did was lay out the reserve in a spot where it wouldn't get damaged. This is Stricko's living room. I then got a piece of paracord and ran it through the pull tabs, which are on the top side of the reserve. The pull tabs are numbered sequentially, which makes it really easy to get them through correctly and not mix it up. I then tied the paracord onto a piece of furniture just to provide a bit of tension. The next step is finding the top of the reserve, which is pretty easy to find. It's purple with a little bit of an arrow marked on it. And then separating out the lines. The lines are colour coded, and you have, I think it was the red and the green go to either side, and then the yellow lines have to be running up through the centre. So we've just clamped off the 3 sets of lines so they don't get mixed up. Then Stricko's working his way down one side, finding the bottom end of the reserve, which is marked by a white piece of fabric, and then folding it out neatly. We then fold down one side of the reserve. Stricko's doing a concertina job, so basically there's 2 folds per seam. You can also just do 1 fold per seam and then fold it in afterwards, so there's 2 ways of doing this. Stricko's had a lot of experience with shoots, so yeah, it's quite handy having him here to have a look and give me a hand. Switching to the other side, just finding the bottom end and rolling it over on top for easy folding and double checking these lines are all good. Then the exact same process on the other side, just concertina folding it down until we reach the top of the reserve, marked by the purple section. So that's about as far as we were willing to go without a more expert opinion. So now Mark's turned up, our local senior safety officer. What we're doing now is getting the bag the reserve's going in just to get the size of the folds. So just flipping the reserve over here and tidying it up. Looks like it's the right size. Now concertinaing the reserve in to the same width as the bag. Now Mark's putting the bag onto the reserve. Looks like it fits really nicely. Good folding. Temporarily fastening the bag just so it doesn't fall apart. Attaching the reserve to the harness. Just doing a loop through on the loop on the harness itself. And Mark ties it up with a rubber band just to make sure it can't pull if the reserve actually gets thrown, potentially causing problems. So then I'll start folding up the line to the width of the reserve pack, rubber banding the end of each fold in a loose manner, just so it'll unravel very easily once the reserve gets thrown. Leaving about 1.5 meters of line at the end, so when you throw the reserve it won't deploy in your lap. Placing the lines on top of the reserve and kneading them up so they're all sitting there ready to go. And then I get a piece of paracord, run it through the bungee loop, and then run it through the pull tabs. They're numbered. The eyelets are numbered to make it really simple. Then grab a length of the lines and just put it through the bungee, like so. That way it'll pop out when the reserve gets thrown. Stuffing the excess line into the hole where the reserve goes at the back there. And then we actually install the reserve itself. Just slipping into the hole, making sure it's the right way around. The final step is closing the flaps over the hole, and then there's little tabs in there which you use a bit of paracord to pull through the eyelets, and then you use the yellow lines on the handle itself to run through those, and then you just tidy it up. Job's done. I don't recommend anyone tries this. If you haven't done it before, don't know what you're doing, make sure you get experienced supervision. You want your reserve to deploy properly. It's there to save your life, and yeah, you don't want to take any risks with it. I'm quite confident I can pack this reserve safely by myself now. I've packed other reserves before, and I'm pretty confident with it. I don't recommend you go doing it though unless you know what you're doing. Get some supervision, or even better, go see an instructor. That was a bloody good fly at Devil's Gully. Now I'm heading back to Black Point. This time I'm heading to the boat ramp side because there's a north wind blowing. So this wind here is a bit funny. Like here it's actually dead on square. Down on the beach it's actually running nearly parallel along the cliff. The wind's actually running along that way. So the wind direction's about there, but what I reckon happens is it comes around this cliff and it funnels and it sort of pushes it around this way. So to get it, and it's killing all the lift. So I reckon if I wanted to lift here, I'd need a little bit more east in the wind to make it a lot liftier. This is a really low thing, a low cliff face, so you need as much wind as you can get, nice and square, if you want some decent height. You can get good flights here, but yeah, I'm just still getting used to this little spot. I think this would be a good little place for PG2s to do sleddies too. They can just come off here straight onto that beach and then walk up that boat ramp back up here and go again. I reckon that's on. Yeah, lift here is really shocking. Now that wind running along the beach means I've got to be really careful about my landing. I don't want to land downwind, so I'm going to turn around, make sure I can turn back again. I'm so low that I won't be able to execute a turn if I'm too low. Woohoo! A bit more light here. I've also got a scratch to stay in really close to get the little bit of lift coming off these little spurs that are sticking out. That's all I'm getting. Freaking dangerous doing this. Just about touching shit with my wing. I spot a little kid down on the beach having a bit of a cry. No one else around, so I thought I'd better land and see what's going on. You want your mummy? Do you live here? Yeah? Where's your house? Or the caravan park? All right, let's go try and find. Grab this. All right, come on, little fella. Let's see if we can find her. Do you know whose kid this is? I found him down on the beach crying. Yeah. Yeah, I can't get much out of him. Are you mum? No? All right, come on, little fella, let's go see what we can find. I found him down on the beach. Come on. Is that him? Is he yours? There we go. Come on, little fella. You're right. I found him down on the beach crying, so yeah. So if you like this kind of positive adventure content, don't be a slug. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment. These things keep me motivated to make these videos, and check out a few of these other adventures.